Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second round here at the Sylvia series, the Sylvia TCX series here at the Monday. We arrive in a busy qualifying session at the Italian track of Misano, where we have a staggering 19 cars to compete here today at Misano, at least in this qualifying session. Andy Boardman currently on P1, trying to make his best effort to retain that P1. Anyways, my name is Daan van Zutphen. I will be your lead commentator here today. Next to me is, as I want to say as always, last time it was Tui, but I think Jack is going to be here for the remainder of the season. Our always beautiful and lovely Jack. Jack, hello.
Hey Dan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I was doing absolutely fine until my headphone had some sudden issues before the stream. You know, those things always happen at the most important moments. But
always in the 11th hour.
Exactly. But for the rest, I'm fine, Jack. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here. I'm always happy to watch cars drive fast in circles, even though these BMWs are not as quick as some things that perhaps would drive around Misano, but it's still fun. And I'm excited.
Who wouldn't be excited for the BMW M2 class? Because if you're new here at the Monday, this season at least, we drive with the BMW M2 CS Cup car in Assetto Corsa Competizione, and as you know, the word says, they are cup cars. This is a one-make series, so everyone is driving with the same car. That means that everyone has an equal chance to win. Not sure if we run fixed setups. Normally we don't here with an Assetto Corsa Competizione competition, so that could maybe also be the difference for some of the drivers out there. But in any case, the BMW M2 CS, very technical car to drive, very loose rear end, especially at a circuit like Misano. They will have a taste of that loose rear end.
It's always great to watch cup racing. I certainly am a big fan. I mean, it's something special when everybody's stuck in the same car and it's just the driver in the box. That's who makes the difference. That's who wins. That's who loses. And almost always, I should say, and hopefully today especially, leads to some really close racing.
I've spoken to some drivers in ACC and iRacing who describe the BMW M2 not as a box but as a literal death coffin at the rear, which I've driven it myself. I can confirm it can sometimes be a death coffin at the rear, and like I said, these drivers will find out how incredible that rear end will be. This is Keith Whiffle, currently driving in P11, 4 seconds off the lead, but I'm sure as track temperature progresses like it always does, as Keith Whiffle, speaking of track temperature, goes a little bit wide, probably invalidating his lap there, but as the track always progresses like it usually does in qualifying, I'm sure we'll see faster and faster times on the leaderboard.
Yeah, that might have been our first example of a little bit loose in the rear. That car stepped out just a little bit on exit, but well kept by Mr. Whittle, as now we're on board with Thibaut Roskam, getting ready to cross the line, currently in P4. Let's see if there's a little bit of improvement here. There is a little bit of improvement, 2 tenths or so, but not quite enough to jump a spot.
Last time Tom Shipston found himself in P4 at the end of the qualifying, at the end of the first round in qualifying. He's currently in that same exact spot. Resembles a great Need for Speed Most Wanted livery there, the number 60 car. Always good to see those custom designed livery and see if that legendary custom designed livery of Tom Shipston maybe can push him a little bit further, maybe to P3. The last time it was Les Stevenson who took P3. Les Stevenson currently in P6. See if the Roka Poker car can make anything of the same like last qualifying. This is Peter Wager currently in P11. He found himself in P9 last qualifying session, but with 6 minutes and 26 seconds to go, Peter Wager can change a lot of things here. He's coming around now. Maybe it's an improvement for Peter Wager, for Team Monkey Racing. Over the line, he's currently in P11. Will he stay in P11? The answer is no. Peter Wager promotes himself with a great lap up to P8.
That was mighty improvement. I mean, that was 1.2 seconds thereabouts. I mean, that had to have been a pretty tidy lap. Probably still getting those tires up to temperature and getting fully stuck into the car. Great lap.
Great lap indeed from the 508 BMW M2. See if Peter Wager can improve some more. This is currently the Welsh driver Mike Foxall in P7. Mike Foxall wasn't here last time, but he is here for the second round and is currently making his debut then in the BMW M2 CS Cup. And Mike Foxall with the 42 almost coming through the last corner, has come through the last corner now. Will it be an improvement for the debutant in Misano with 5 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock? He was P7, he is P6 now, overtakes Les Stevenson, currently only 1.5 seconds off the lead, as the home country hero, Marco Facuito, and I'll probably pronounce that completely wrong, as I hear Ash Bibi laughing in the background, our beautiful broadcaster, which I haven't named yet. Normally my Italian pronunciations are a bit better, but on the spot they're horrible. I'm sorry for the number 20 car who had to endure that, or will endure that. But currently 2.7 seconds off the pace in P11 is the 20 car.
On the subject of pronunciations, I think you're about to experience some world-class mispronunciation from myself. Usually I try to do pretty well, but I mean, naturally as an American, I cannot say anything European at all without just bottling it.
Dominik Wojtek currently in P18. The number 4 driver of the BMW M2 number 4 hasn't set a lap time yet. He was currently weaving his tires, so it'll probably take one more lap to set a reference for Dominik Wojtek, and currently see if he can maybe challenge for pole position. Spoken of pole position, currently your man in P1, also in pit lane, is Andy Boardman, the 69 The BMW M2 currently on top with a 147.1. That is 7/10, a staggering 7/10 quicker than the man in P2, who was P2 also last time. His name is Nico Kumpu. This is the number 20 car again coming, well, almost over the line through the last corner and almost colliding with another BMW M2. That must be the car of the 51 black. Yeah, it indeed is the man who's currently last, trying to get a lap time in as well. Just held the 20 car up, Joseph Black there in the BMW M2, trying his best to get a lap time on the board with only 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining, and Joseph Black demonstrating why the BMW M2 car isn't the easiest of the cars to drive, particularly at the rear end, and it can get quite loose on the front end as well. So it could remind you of a certain Ferrari car that drove in Formula 1 sometime long ago, but the BMW M2, not an easy car to drive again.
Yeah, I think these guys might need a little bit of a reminder that, hey, we're not actually quite in the race yet. Here's Kevin Boss absolutely trailing another car. I mean, slipstream's great and all, but I think you might be compromising yourself a little bit sticking right behind another car like this.
It depends, doesn't it? If the car ahead is faster than you, then you definitely have a nice slipstream, which on Misano it helps. Yes, Misano, it's a really technical track, but it has very long straights, so straight line speed definitely plays a factor here. So the setup of your car is really important on this track. You don't want it to have, especially the rear wing, you don't want it too low, but you don't want it too high, because, well, you have a lot of straights, but you have a lot of slow corners as well. But the Dutchman in Italy, Kevin Bos, going for one more lap. Lap takes roughly 1:47, 1:48, 1:49 for the back of the field. And we have 1:20, 1 minute and 21 seconds on the clock. So it's one more lap for Kevin Bos, and then his qualifying will be finished. He's currently trailing the number 4 car, which is in P14. What can Kevin Bos improve for the Wheelie Slow Racing team? We'll find out in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, I think it's looking like for a couple of these drivers, it's going to come down to the final lap. I mean, Nico Kumpu has already improved by another 4/10 closer to Boardman, and we'll see. Hopefully these bottom 3 guys can put in a lap before time is out. As I'm actually saying, I'm realizing that Joe Dauber is in the pit lane, so I think he's just going to start from the back, maybe take it a little easy. Hopefully Pimlott and Black can put in a lap before it's too late.
Matt Malcolm saying in chat, I have no idea how I got that lap in, because even he doesn't know. He's currently in P3, the Scotsman, so that is a great position to be in, Matt Malcolm. 1 second off the lead. Talking about the lead, Nico Kumpu improved somewhere in this qualifying session. Don't know exactly when it happened, but he's now 3/10 off the leader. Challenged the leader actually in turn 1 all the way to the second lap last time in Spain, but currently in P2, threatening pole position a little bit. That Edwards now will come across the line in, well, probably a minute time. It's a nice little tow, I think, from the car ahead. Not sure who that car ahead is exactly, as the number 20 car will come over the line. Maybe he will improve. Currently in P14, now jumps up to P13, does the number 20 car. That Edwards getting that apex nicely in. We still have the 51 car coming across the line. That's Joseph Black. Joseph Black does get a lap time in, but this is Ted Edwards in the number 8 car, who our eyes are on. He's coming to the last corner. He's coming through the last corner. Is Ted Edwards going to improve significantly in this qualifying session? In his final lap, Ted Edwards comes across the line. P8 it was, P7 it is. 1.6 seconds off to the lead, and I think that Edwards will be really happy with that, as Neil Pimlott also will come across the line here, coming through the last corner. A very difficult corner. You have to nail the exit to avoid not losing a lot of time. Neil Pimlott was in P11, jumps up to P9, and I think that is your qualifying done? No, it isn't, because Richard Meerman, still in P15, going to set a lap.
Yeah, a lot of late improvements. Clearly, track
I was
evolution has been up. Yeah, it seems actually Merriman may have just not been on the lap at all. I thought the same as you. I thought he was going to keep going, but that wraps up our qualifying.
Indeed, it does, and well, another pole position for Andy Boardman. 26.4 is the fastest first sector, and he has a fastest second sector and third sector quite dominantly as well. I mean, look at that, he's almost 3/10 faster than Nico Kumpu in that first sector, which is really interesting to see. But we've got a 20 car grid, which is great to see. The last time it was, I think, 16 cars, somewhere around 60 cars. So that is 4 more cars who can make this second round in the Sylvia series, Sylvia TCX series, more exciting today, as we, of course, we have wrapped up qualifying, and now we go towards the starting grid, which normally takes us 5 minutes or more. So that gives us more time to babble about the race to come. Joseph. No, not Joseph. Jack. Second race of the season, more cars. It's a tight field, especially at the midfield. What are your expectations from this race?
I'm honestly not sure what to expect at all. I've actually never seen the M2 CS cars race in ACC, so I'm excited to see. Hopefully, Misano being a technical circuit will sort of it may spread the field out a little bit, but hopefully there'll be a couple sort of long-winded battles that we get to enjoy, as often can be seen in cup racing. But I don't know. I'm ready for anything at this point, and I'm looking forward to whatever comes to us.
Have you done your homework and have you watched the first race of the season?
I'll be honest with you, I have not. I
Oh,
considered doing it, but I was actually the reason I wasn't here last week is I was at a work trip in the funny state of Missouri at a rice cakes plant. So I'm sorry, I was a
oh,
bit busy. Um, but I was hoping to have some time to do it this afternoon. Yet again, I was working right up until I had to come and sit down in the chair, but it's all good.
it's all forgiven. Well, he'll be here for the rest of the season, so it will all be forgiven. As we see right now in front of our screens, the current standings in the Sylvia Series, the TCX Cup here, season 2 of the TCX Cup. Andy Boardman leads the Sylvia Series with 72 points to his name. Just behind that is the Finnish driver Nico Kumpu with 58 points behind his name. Then it's the Britishman George Darber, the 777 car in P3 with 53 points to his name, followed by Tom Shipson, followed by Mike Redford in P5. Just 4 points behind Mike Redford, it is Ted Edwards in P6. Behind that, it is Les Stevenson with a great qualifying in the first round of the season, but then trailed down at the later stages of the race and finding himself in P7. Thibaut Roskam in P8. Neil Pimlott finished in P9 in the first of the season. He has 31 points behind his name. Behind that, it is Peter Varga in P10 with 28 points to his name. We will then move on to P11, which is currently being occupied by Richard Whiffall. He has 25 points behind his name. Then I think only Frenchman in the league, Hugo Duby, the 721 BMW M2, has 23 points behind his name. 2 points behind that, it is Richard Meerman in P13. Behind that, it is Dominic Wojtak. Behind that is Jacob Martin with 17 points behind his name. And Keith Whiffall rounds off the remaining scorers in the season in P16. Behind that, it's Matt Malcolm, Will Stevenson, the 20 in the season in P16. Behind that, it's Matt Malcolm, Will Stevenson, the 20 BMW, and Joseph Black with 0 points behind their name.
All right, Dan, who's your money on to win this thing? Do you think Andy Boardman can put it to rights? I mean, qualifying was pretty dominant. Sounds like he was pretty dominant last week. What do we think?
You know, of course, Andy Boardman was dominant, but I always, well, not always, but I like to go for an underdog here. Nico Kumpu got very close last time around in Barcelona. And if he comes close enough today in Misano, he could go for the win. So I'm going to bet my money on Nico Kumpu, the Finnish driver. Well, he needs to hope Andy Boardman makes a mistake, of course. Otherwise, Andy Boardman is going to be very tough to beat. But it can be done. Nico Kumpu is the one.
Love an underdog story.
Who's your money on?
I mean, I honestly could roll a dice to pick completely randomly, but I honestly don't know. I love an underdog story, but just to be a contrarian, I do think Andy Boardman's got it in him. I mean, the qualifying says a lot. I mean, being purple in all 3 sectors is mighty impressive. But I mean, you know, race trim, race time, race strategy, things change obviously. But no, I think my boy Andy's got it. I'm now an Andy simp.
Andy, well, we've heard that we have an Andy simp as a commentator now. Yes, how incredible! How incredible! Well, I see apparently George Darber is going to maybe make an attempt to last to first. At least Matt Malcolm wants to see it. George Darber says in chat last to hopefully not last. But well, I'm sure Joey did pretty decent in the first round, so I'm pretty sure, Joe, you're not going to finish last. But we have some tough competition out there, so it could be, the wooden spoon could be for anyone in this field. And you know what they say, Jack? To finish first, you first have to finish.
One of my favorite sayings in all time in racing. It's never truer than in driving a car like this, where you're a bit loose, you're a bit all over the place, and on the technical circuit, you just gotta keep it between the lines. You gotta minimize mistakes, and that's often how races are decided: is who made the least mistakes.
It truly is. Who makes the least mistakes? Who is going to be the fastest first? Because everyone at a certain point can copy some lines and can copy throttle input and brake input, but who's going to be the very fastest earliest? That's normally who wins the race. So not almost going to sound like Will Buxton here, but it's cliche, but just because it's cliche doesn't mean it's not true. 1 hour we are going to race here at Misano, and in that hour we will have 1 mandatory pit stop. No tire. We don't need a tire change. We also don't need any refueling. Well, I say we don't need any refueling. Everyone needs to refuel exactly 1 liter of fuel, and then they can go, which is going to make for a very interesting strategy. I touched on it with Stewie last time, Jack, because some drivers could opt to refuel their car, but start with half a tank and so be faster at the start, and some drivers don't, but they will lose more time in pit lane. What would you do in that situation?
I certainly am the kind of driver that I'd rather just take the lighter fuel out at the beginning, go like hell, and then settle in the pits, because I always love a lighter car than a more fuel-filled, heavier car.
We're going to keep that in mind and see who will take that strategy and see who will come out on top. Now we are approaching the last corner, so that means the lights will almost go out and the green flag will almost drop here at the circuit of Misano. We have arrived in Italy for the 2nd race of the season. The last time it was Nico Kumpu who had the better start compared to Andy Boardman. Will the tables be turned here today in Italy? It is Andy Boardman, your leader, your pole position, and it is the green flag. It drops now, and Danny Boardman does have a better start this time, but get Nico Kumpu with the racing line, hang around the outside, yes he can, and now he has the inside line, but now Andy Boardman sticks with it, and so it's going to be a side-by-side battle towards turn 4, or has Andy Boardman already made the move, or will Nico Kumpu come back to challenge him? It seems like that Andy Boardman got this in the bag, but it wasn't made easy, because the Finnish driver was all over him at the first corner of this race, the first couple of corners, and now it's Andy Boardman's job to just get away from this field. Don't look in your mirrors and bridge a gap as soon as possible, because Nico Kumpu almost already needs to look in his rear view mirrors, because there is a Scotsman of Matt Malcolm, very dangerous. Kevin Boss in the mid back, currently in P10, trying to survive, trying to get up as many places as possible. He has the 136 of Neil Pimlott, and he dives down the inside of the sort of double hairpin it is, and can he get the traction down earlier than Neil Pimlott? It seems like he does, but Pimlott has a little bit of a toe of the car ahead, so these two drivers are going to be side by side, I think, all the way to the next braking zone. Kevin Bols, the Dutchman, finding his feet in Italy so far, and I think he's got that position. Yes, he does indeed. Makes the apex nicely. Or can Neil Pimlott come back? Kevin Boss, he does leave the spade, but that is a move sealed and done.
A lot of move makers happening in this first lap. I mean, Kumpu, that was just such a mighty attempt into turn 1, but I mean the right just kind of worked against him a little bit. Being on the inside for turn 1 means you're on the inside for turn 3, and it's a little over by that point. It seems like Kevin Boss and Pimlott, they're still gonna keep going at it. No, I don't think this battle is settled quite yet. I think we might be in for a several lap battle.
We have some incidents at the back end of the field. Sorry to interrupt you there, Jack. This is Richard Meerman. I think it was Richard Meerman involved in that incident. Mike Redford battling Joey Darby in the 777, and that's taking the grass for Joey Darby, and he needs to look to his inside. And then in the first corner of the second lap we also had an incident. This is the number 20 car, the Italian home hero. Will he have an incident? A little bit of a nudge. He's getting a bit of loft taps of the cars behind. That would be all for the Italian driver, Richard Meerman. Just behind that, one more race replay, and then that Edwards, who is currently driving in, I think, P4, the number 8 car, at least got a little tap on the rear end there, but kept it all stable. And so that Edwards now driving in a P6. This is the incident we saw in the background. This is, that's Keith Whiffle, I think, who gets involved in a really nasty incident. Jacob Martin being the victim there. Keith Whiffle, the Belgium driver, braked a little bit too late. This is Neil Pimlott fighting Peter Vaga, and it's all getting messy here at the end of the third lap. And that's 3 wide, and that's a huge incident for Neil Pimlott. And who's that then involved as well? Is it the number 20 car? No, it isn't. That could be the number 4 of Wojtek. Neil Pimlott slowing down like a gentleman would, but a lot of drivers have lost a lot of time there as the 157 comes in pit lane. Keith Whiffle will already make his stop, because you can do so. The pit window is open for 57 minutes here today, so you can make a pit stop whenever you want here in the season. But everything went loose, a lot of chaos there then in the beginning of this race, and we've only raced 5 minutes, Jack.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit of misjudgment from a couple of cars just caused incident after incident. I mean, a little bit of tap in the rear slows one car down, forces a 3 wide, and 3 into 1 rarely ever goes cleanly. And as we see, Joe Darby just going a little bit wide, getting a little bit loose in the rear. That was a little bit messy from a couple of drivers, and definitely causing several incidents. And hopefully everyone, after we've gotten a couple more laps down, get their heads stuck in, get a little bit more comfortable.
This is a fight between Kevin Boss and George Darber. They went side to side earlier this season, if I'm not mistaken. But Darber currently on the outside of Kevin Boss. But can he keep the speed up? Can he get his momentum up? And that's a beautiful move around the outside from the Englishman on the Dutchman. And now Kevin Boss needs to look in his rear view mirrors even more, because there is Peter Varga in P11. It's all kicking off here in this Sylvia series, but Joe Darber made a fantastic move for P9. The 777 car will be delighted with that and will probably put that one in his highlight reels.
Absolutely, Joe Dauber. Massive move, starting in the back, ending up 11 positions in 6 minutes. That is, it seems like he's got a serious bit of pace, and I think we'll be keeping our eyes on Mr. Dauber. Hopefully for a little while, I get to see him make some moves every once in a while. But I gotta say, I feel a little bit bad for Kevin Boss. He seems like he just can't quite catch a break just yet. But well, that's part of racing, is going wheel to wheel and keeping it exciting, as we're on board with Thibaut Roskam. A little bit of a train happening ahead of him with Shipston and Matt Malcolm. As it seems like Matt Malcolm maybe's going a little bit wide. I can't quite tell if that's the preferred line for some drivers, or maybe they're just pushing it a bit deep. Can't quite say, but it does look like there's quite a few different lines happening into the hairpin. Interesting to see how people are choosing to drive what is ultimately the same bit of machinery, as Roskam is sticking his nose in a little bit to Shipston. Shipston nudging him out. See maybe if one tries to be a little bit later on the brakes than the other into turn 14. Nope, they're just staying line astern, one after the other. Keep it clean. Wait for your opponents to make a mistake. It tends to be the better strategy, especially as early in the race as we are.
It's obviously easier said than done, waiting for an opponent to make a mistake, because in that process you can also make a mistake, as Tom Shipston is battling Thibaut Roskam now. Roskam just avoiding the rear end of the British driver. Now Tom Shipston on the inside, now on the outside, and can he remain on the inside for the next corner? Then it is bold, it is brave. These two drivers are trying everything they can to defend or gain a position. Tom Shipston currently getting the better of Thibaut Roskam, and Matt Malcolm will be really happy with this, because he can now get a gap and get some breathing space between P4 and P3 he currently occupies, and that means that Matt Malcolm now can look forward a little bit more, and Tom Shipston still needing to look in his rear view mirrors. You can't look too much in your rear view mirrors, because then you will not only hold yourself up but also the car behind you, and that maybe gives Les Stevenson an opportunity to get a look in for a top 5 spot. Last time he finished P7, P8. The 46 BMW M2 qualified P3 again. I think disappointed with his race result in Spain, but now didn't have the best of qualifyings for Les Stevenson, but that means he can only gain places, and see if he can later on in this race, and see when he will make his pit stop, because we have 51 minutes to go. And last time, Jack, it was especially Mike Redford, there were a few names who would already have pitted, and if you're a driver like Les Stevenson who's currently not fighting, would you pit or would you stay out?
I was sitting in free air. I'm staying out. I'm putting in as quick and as clean of laps as I can while I have the space. If maybe you start to get into a battle, maybe you start to get stuck behind other cars, that's when I personally would be looking to pit for clean air. I mean, it's certainly a strategy that's used in a lot of series, but I imagine a lot of these guys are thinking to themselves, yeah, but if I get it out of the way now, I can just put my head down and race till the checkered.
I think that's a very good shout, and I think the most of the drivers think like that as well, given the amount of pit stops we have had. Only 3, as we look to Peter Varga trying to gain a position, and trying to gain the position from the 31 from the Dutchman Kevin Boss. currently needing to look in his rear view mirrors more than he would like, because Joe Darber has absolutely sprinted off into the distance. Excuse me, the gap is 4.8 seconds as Peter Varga. Well, he is trying to get a nose in. He got a nose in, but he didn't have the momentum coming out of the corner. I was a bit surprised by that move myself. But Kevin Bos retaliating the attack of Peter Varga, does that so nice without losing a lot of time. Go comes Jack. He already touched upon a little bit. There are a lot of different lines you can take here in Misano. That helped Kevin Bos undoubtedly to regain his position, defend his position from the 508 car. But Peter Varga is all over the back of the Dutchman, currently driving in P9. But currently Peter Varga hasn't made an attempt this lap. Ooh, Kevin Bos runs a bit wide then, and it's the commentator's curse for me, trying to claim that inside, but it's already too late. A mistake for Kevin Bos. Peter Varga going really wide then. Does that give Kevin Bos an opportunity to regain his P9? And it does, and now they're all square again, and Kevin Bos takes that P9 back from Peter Varga after Peter Varga making a mistake, just like Kevin Bos did one corner earlier. And so that means that these two will fight probably again and again and again, because I don't see this fight being over very, very soon.
I think you are exactly right, as you can already see Peter Varga stepping out just a little bit, letting Kevin see him in his rearview mirror. But it was a great example of how sometimes when you make a little bit of a mistake on track, the important thing is keep your head, keep going, because I mean it came right back in Kevin's favor. I mean, Varga just effectively made the exact same mistake, which was going a bit deep in the following corner, and he was able to just get right back in front. So we're also given some sad news, especially for me, because Mr. Ted Edwards has retired from the race. Apparently, he's having some throttle issues on his rig. Ted, I'm sorry, man. I promised you that when you were my broadcaster the first time I saw you race, I was going to commentators curse you, but it looks like that's going to have to wait till next time.
As Peter Varga finally made the move on Kevin Bos, and now along the back straight in the slipstream, can Kevin Bos regain his position like he's done a lap before? He's trying to get a nose in, he's looking a bit where Peter Varga will put his car, and that is on the white line of the racetrack. So Peter Varga makes yet another mistake, but Kevin Bos can't really make any use of that mistake because he's still in P10 behind Peter Varga. Varga getting a gap in immediately, getting some breathing space to Kevin Bos, and that means that unless Kevin Bos can hang in his slipstream and can stay with Peter Varga, that P10, that P9 actually might well be lost for the Dutchman. See if Peter Varga then keep up. But these two, wow, as Kevin Bos almost collides with the rear of that BMW. Well, you know, these two are quite equal, as we've been watching them for 3 laps now. Mike Redford catching the both of them a little bit in the background, because there's a group of roughly 3 cars within 1.5 seconds, and they are not fighting, so they're sort of gaining on these two cars ahead of them. Matt Malcolm still in P3, being still chased by Tom Shipston, and chasing Tom Shipston is Tibor Roskam still. And this is a great little group, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of change in this group. It can all change in a matter of seconds, maybe even in the next corners, but I think these 3 drivers are just working together, Jack.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that exact same thing. Well, we talk about it, but Shipston goes a little bit wide there. But I don't think they're really wanting to fight each other too much. I think at this stage in the race, it's like, all right, guys, we're comfortable. We seem to all be driving basically the exact same pace. What if we work together? What if we got some extra laps under our belt? You know, got later into the race, maybe through pit cycle, and then next time around, they'll probably really be fighting for it.
It probably will, and you know, it's a great tactic to maybe catch a little bit to Nico Kumpu. He is 6 seconds ahead. So, you know, you never know. Nico Kumpu could always make a mistake, but they're playing this race smart, and To be fair, I like some smart racing, some good racecraft. And I think that's the 157 of Keith Whiffle, just in front of that, not to be confused with Nico Kumpu. So we will let them by, but on a very awkward spot, Keith Whiffle does. And then out 3 wide, but that's Tom Shipston, who's trying to defend from Tibor Roskam after Keith Whiffle, not greatly placing himself for Tom Shipston. Matt Malcolm will be delighted, given he has some breathing space again, but now it's time for some attacking. Tom Shipston needing to defend from Tibor Roskam. Once again, the number 60 car against the number 96. And the 96 car, does he have the exit? He's still alongside Tom Shipston, which means he has the inside for the next flat-out right-hander, and that means he will gain some time on the number 60 car. And now he has the inside for the next braking zone, but can Tom Shipston keep up the momentum? He has the preferred racing line, and that means if he goes wide, he does go wide, and that means Tibor Roskam is still in the fight with the number 4 of this race, but now Tom Shipston has a very good inside for the next corner, so maybe Tibor Roskam needs to give up the fight for now. Does he cut back to the inside? He certainly gives it a look, but it's not enough to overtake. And look who's there in the background. Les Stevenson is inching closer to these 2 drivers, especially if they remain fighting. Tom Shipston taking the defensive line, and that's a very bold braking move there by Tibor Roskam, desperate to stay on the inside for the next corner, and then the inside will turn to the outside, and there is Les Stevenson, who I was talking about. Tibor Roskam losing the car, going into Les Stevenson, but it's all okay so far. Les Stevenson even gaining a position. The number 46 car was waiting for this to happen, and now he can go and drive perhaps to an even potential P4.
That was a bit of a that was a bit of a moment there for Tibor Roskam. I honestly think that if Stevenson wasn't there, he may have actually gone around on that spin. I think Stevenson might have saved him just a tad. That little bump being there on the inside. What a masterclass of defensive driving from Tom Shipston. I mean, talk about not losing your nerve and just waiting until the track started going the direction you needed to, so that you find that inside line. Never braking, never giving room. There was a little bit of door banging between the two, but I could tell exactly one was trying to squeeze the other, and it just, that happens, especially in cup cars such as this. A little bit of door banging, a little bit of love taps, but that was excellent. That was epic racing.
Talk about a good analysis there. I think you've just hit the nail on the head with that analysis, and I think there's more to come of these 3 drivers, because especially at the end of the race you see groups like these maybe move in towards each other a little more, as Les Stevenson just loses a little time to Tibor Roskam, needing to look in his rear view mirrors again, and Tibor Roskam maybe trying to think about the inside here. The 96 driver of the BMW M2 trying his best to regain that P5. Valuable points for the championship, of course, as we see, of course, a beautiful livery. Les Stevenson's driving with the Rogue Poker livery we all know and love, and we have a beautiful view of that lovely rear end Les Stevenson is driving with so far, and he currently needs to look still in his rear view mirrors, as I'm wondering when the first pit stops will come in play, as Tibor Roskam is really sniffing that rear end. He got really close up to it, and Les Stevenson now, like I said multiple times, needing to look in his rear view mirror.
Yeah, I mean, this I know immediately who this is working out for. Tom Shipston just ahead, just being like, "Oh, this is exactly what I need. I need a little bit of breathing room. I need a little bit of time delta between these 2 drivers." But Roskam, absolutely, after losing that position to Stevenson, it's just like, we're going for this now. There's all gas, no brakes. We are absolutely going to give it everything There's no more waiting around. It's time to go wheel to wheel as he, he thought he had the inside line there, was making a great move, but just got a little bit eager on power on the exit. But fortunately, he's able to keep the car going the right way, not losing too much time. Really, really hugging that apex. Yeah, just getting a little bit too eager on power on the exit.
We've talked about the BMW M2 having a loose rear end under braking, but on exit it's definitely loose on the rear end as well. It's very snappy, and well, a perfect demonstration there by Tibor Roskam. Not that he wanted to, but he got it either way. Needed a bit of a lighter right foot, and that BMW just couldn't handle the throttle application that was being given by Tibor Roskam, and so a tiny spin as he is still facing the right way, like Jack says, and that means he hasn't lost massive amount of time. Hugo Duby currently in P13, trying to gain the position of, I think that is the number 20 car, yes indeed, of the home hero here, and Hugo Duby going really wide, everyone needing to watch out for track limits because they're very sensitive here at Misano. We didn't see any drive-throughs in Barcelona, Catalonia, but we might see drive-throughs here at Misano, as Hugo Duby trying to take the best line is possible to overtake the number 20 car, but it currently isn't working out so far.
The level of different lines that we've been seeing so far has actually been super fascinating for me, as we're starting to see penalties trickling through. We have a 5-second for Peter Varga and a 10-second penalty for Keith Whittle. I know for sure why Keith has that penalty. I mean, he did kind of punterino somebody off the circuit. That's a bit understandable. Not 100% sure what Varga did to deserve his 5-second. I'm sure we'll have that answer shortly.
Live stewarding here today, so we'll definitely get that answer probably shortly. It's still, however, the number 20 cars. We are already approaching the halfway mark, 7 minutes to go. This race is flying by because, well, not only we are having fun, but I'm sure the drivers as well. The number 20 Italian Marco needing to defend now. Well, I say needing to defend. He didn't take a defensive line and did not lose his position to Hugo Duby in the 721 BMW M2. Needing to defend now the Italian on the brakes, deep braking zone. Will the number 721 cut back in the braking zone? Because you can do that in Misano. He won't, however, and he will not get that P11 spot, so get that P12 spot. Hugo Duby, we've already had 2 retirements, no, 3 actually, see I can't count, P20, P18 and P19, so that means 3 retirements here today, which is a sad thing to see, and that, shows Jack that Misano, not only Misano, but also the BMW and the combination itself is pretty difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the attrition rate's been, fortunately, not absurdly high, but I mean, losing 3 cars already is pretty quick. I think the technicality of the circuit mixed with the close racing of cup cars is just leading to maybe a few more incidents, a few more mistakes than perhaps we would see otherwise.
Andy Boardman still in the lead, still dominant as he was in race 1. He had a tricky start, but it really the same like today. He had some competition of Nico Kumpu, but now he has flown up into the distance. 6 seconds is the gap. It isn't as large as it was last time around. The last time, well, he had a gap of 7.1 seconds to Nico Kumpu, so I am on to absolutely nothing there with my statement. If Nico Kumpu, can gain some time, then, if Andy Boardman makes a mistake, he could still get that P1, but it's going to be very difficult, as we have some yellow flags. And it is the 157 driven by Keith Whiffle, who already has a 10-second penalty to his name, just spinning around there, I think. Nico Kumpu, the Finnish driver, again, like we talked about just now, still sitting in P2, absolutely in no man's land. 6 seconds to the car ahead, 10 seconds to the car behind. Nico Kumpu is officially driving in the John Dalton zone, Jack.
Oh man, I have spent the past couple of years hearing about the John Dalton zone, and to experience it live in a broadcast is a special thing for me.
I know.
Not something you want to be, not somewhere you really ever want to be. It's actually somewhere I find myself pretty consistently when I race. But so now I think Shipston is now catching. I think that's Malcolm just ahead. Seems like now that he's been in free air, he's found a bit of pace. Maybe Matt Malcolm has dropped off a little bit. He was quick in the first, quarter, and I think Shipson has been quicker in the second.
You say you don't want to be in the John Dalton zone, Jack, but let's face it, if you're Nico Kumpu, and you know you're probably not going to catch the leader, then obviously you rather want to have Matt Malcolm 11 seconds behind instead of at your very rear. I know it's hard to lose focus with no one around, but the John Dalton zone isn't exactly always negative.
You're absolutely right. You're 100% right. Especially, running in P2, the John Dalton zone can sometimes be your best friend. But when I think about it, I'd be running in like P15 in the John Dalton zone. So for me, it's always a bit of a sad moment. But for Nico Kumpu, I think that's going to do well for him. I bet he's relaxing right now, maybe stretching his legs a little bit.
I think he sure is. Who isn't? Is Tom Shipson and Matt Malcolm, like we just touched upon. But there's just, Tom Shipson may be waiting, just eager to find a mistake at the hand of Matt Malcolm. But Matt Malcolm, credit where credit is due, just had 2 cars at the back of him, now has 1 car. And possibly, as Tom Shipson is in pit lane, he's trying to undercut Matt Malcolm there. A very smart move, but if Matt Malcolm, if he comes in for the next lap, he could, ruin the strategy Tom Shipson, because Tom Shipson obviously hopes now that Matt Malcolm stays out for longer, and after Matt Malcolm makes his pit stop, he can automatically, without any fighting, get that 3rd spot. But I must finish my sentence. Credit where credit is due. Matt Malcolm keeping cool under pressure. The Scotsman, first time in P3 in the season, and he's keeping his head really cool. And well, that results in him still driving in P3.
Yeah, definitely keeping your head is important in any racing circumstance, especially one where you're sitting in a podium position. But I think that was a really, really good strategy call by Shipston to just know that, hey, I'm quicker on track than the guy ahead of me, possibly not quick enough to overtake. Let's hit the box. Let's fuel up. Let's get ready for the second half, and possible box to overtake, possible undercut. We'll see in the next couple of laps how that actually ends up turning out. Joe Dauber, I've said his name before, I'll keep saying his name, a super duper performance, starting from the very back of the grid all the way up to currently P5. Granted, had a couple of pit stops, so it's not necessarily a net P5, I think it's a net P6 right now, but looking to overtake Stevenson and get up to a P4.
I had that in my mind, actually. It's very good you touched upon it, because, well, you just told everyone everything they needed to know. But Joe Dauber, in chat, said, hopefully not last to last. Well, he certainly isn't last anymore. He's P5 and trying to overtake Les Stevenson for a net P5, given Tom Shipston was ahead of these guys when he came in. But so far, Les Stevenson in a net P5, virtual P5, but being attacked by the 777 car, who's currently doing an amazing job in Misano, obliterating pace he has. In race 1, Joe Darber finished in P3, 21 seconds behind the leader of the race, behind P1 in race 1 of season 2 here in the Sylvia TCX series, as Joe Darber comes very close to that rear end driven by Les Stevenson. Maybe he can send one down the inside of Curva Tramonto. Currently it's a very difficult, it's a very strange corner, because it's a double apex run. And a lot of V-lines, especially when you're in GT3, you will take V-lines, but because this is a little bit of a slower car, you need to be more on the limit, because everything happens more slowly. You need to be longer on the limit, so people tend to drive less V-lines in the car, because you can't get the car rotated on throttle as easily as, let's say, a GT3 car or a GT4 car. Les Stevenson is definitely coming in pit lane, because he did indicate he was going to the left hand side, and in the last corner that would only mean I'm going in pit lane, and so Les Stevenson goes into pit lane.
I think that's really good news for Joe Dauber. I was wondering if maybe he was thinking, maybe I need to box. Maybe I need to get out of the way because, maybe a bit quicker on track, not quite quick enough to overtake, but he was just given a free pass to free air. And I think if he keeps his pace up, he might end up ahead of Les Stevenson by the time he himself pits. So we're now on board with Tom Shipston just getting a little bit quick with... Oh, Meerman actually has a drive-through penalty, as it seems like our second bit of incidents is coming through. Clearly he's pitting in to serve that DT for track limits. I think you definitely called it, Dan, earlier when you said, I think we're going to have some track limits today, and I fully agreed with you.
Yeah, it seems that the number 15 isn't in our Monday live penalty report of the stewards, so that means his drive-through was given by Assetto Corsa Competizione itself. If you get 4 track limits, you get 3 warnings, and the 4th track limit is a drive-through. Pretty harsh they are in ACC. Let's face it, let's compare it with iRacing. Normally in iRacing you get 17 track limits, 17 off tracks, and if you have those 17s, you will get either a drive-through or a stop-and-go penalty somewhere in that region. So a lot more room for play there, but in ACC it's quite minimal. 3 incidents only, which isn't a lot.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes I myself and some of my buddies, we call track limit warnings freebies, and you always got to use your freebies by the end of the race. But ACC is the kind of game where you really got to be aware of what you're doing at all times. One of those track cuts, especially early in the race, you're like, okay, pressure's on. I kind of got to keep my head here. Circuit like Misano, a rear loose end like in BMW M2. It's a combination for keeping you on your toes as far as track limits are concerned, let alone just driving the thing.
Debutant Mike Foxwell, the Welsh driver, currently driving in P6, perhaps even P5, because he probably overtook Matt Malcolm in pit lane. Yes, that is to the 199 now exiting pit lane. Mike Foxwell for his debut, the Welshman doing pretty well. See where he ends up when he makes his pit stop. Of course, he's in no man's land, aka the John Dalton zone. He has no one to be really worried about, so why should he pit? He shouldn't, because he can just drive on his own rhythm in clean air without a worry in the world and see if he can make up a position just because of driving in no man's land. Tom Shipston in front of the number 20 car, who hasn't pitted yet, so Tom Shipston will definitely get held up and probably biting his teeth because of it.
And it's bad news for Shipson, but it's good news for Matt Malcolm, who actually clearly lost quite a bit of time, as our beautiful, wonderful Ash Bibby's making a great point. How do you bite your teeth? I think that's just called biting. But anyway, now Tom Shifted going too wide with the number 20 car, making the move pretty substantially. Didn't look like Fakito would want to fight that too hard. Our home hero just probably trying to get it round, get it home. Shipston actually doing great work on his couple of outlaps. Matt Malcolm actually lost about 5 seconds to him during the pit cycle, which is interesting to see. Maybe one had to take more fuel than the other, and that was why that happened. I'm not sure, but they certainly are some of the quick cars to be watching coming through the field as the pit cycle continues to happen. It's been great to see the level of strategy difference. A couple people really just firing pit stops off in the first 10 15 minutes, and now this is when I was expecting the bulk of it to happen, which is about half distance, a little over halfway. A lot of people like to fill their car up for 50%, 55% of the race, and then box at half. Makes it easy, means you can sort of work around anything. If something happens early, you can box early. Obviously, you can't box late because then you'd run out of fuel. But we're now on board with our current race leader, who is putting in a mighty, mighty performance. Andy Boardman aboard the 69 BMW. Of course, is now Les Stevenson, seemingly just not being able to catch a break in terms of traffic. He's now behind Matt Ridd, which, hold on a minute, wasn't he just 2 cars ahead of these two? I'm not sure. There must have been an incident with Les Stevenson that maybe he had an off track, unless I'm completely confusing him for someone else. But I'm pretty sure that Stevenson may have made a pretty big mistake and has now ended up exactly where he wouldn't want to be, which is behind Matt Redford and behind Matt Malcolm. Not Matt Redford, sorry, Mike Redford. There's a Mike. It's all one syllable names. Give me a break. But I think Les Stevenson is shaking off whatever happened to him as he's going too wide with Mr. Mike.
Oh, no.
Oh my Lord, I think that was okay. That was not, missed that a little bit. Let's need to see that.
I already thought in that shot, this takes way too long for them to appear. Mike Redford, just, this is a classic Sainz Perez incident we saw in Baku. Just both really driving in a straight line, but unconsciously moving towards each other, and by the time they hit each other, Jack, it's just too late.
Yeah, that's never a good feeling, and we'll see what the stewards end up deciding about that. It was too hard to tell from that camera angle really who was moving when they shouldn't be. I'm sure they'll take a look at onboards and really get that decision made properly, as now we're on board with Mr. Doobie up against Kevin Boss. Actually, we're going to get another replay of it. Ash Bibby, you're a king. Oh, actually, it seems, there really wasn't a lot of steering lock on there. And that would have honestly meant that Stevenson was turning left instead of going right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see one wheel was moving, one wheel wasn't. I think Stevenson doing a little bit to squeeze, maybe being a little bit unpredictable.
I think Stevenson on the outside there, it's just, he's getting ready to turn in for the next corner because it's obviously going right. And it was Mike Redford who has... maybe I'm switching the two, but one car needing to, steer a little bit to the right, but the other car has the inside, so he can steer later, and maybe not, expecting the other car to turn to the right already and trying to squeeze his opponent a little longer. But, those things happen in racing. Live stewarding. Like we said, so it is being looked at. I'm not sure if a penalty will be applied, but we will find out pretty soon. 20 minutes to go time has been flying by, Jack. What do you make of this race so far? I think it's been absolutely incredible compared to the one we had in Barcelona.
You know, I always have high expectations whenever I'm coming into the RCI comms box, but I
Very
was
flattering.
not expecting. My expectations were definitely a little bit lower after hearing the stories of last round. But no, this has been fantastic. Some really good battles, some really interesting strategy, some incidents, some crashes. Let's be honest, those are still pretty exciting. You don't want to see them, but you love to see them. No, this has been fantastic. Absolutely has flown by. It's felt like it's been about 10, 15 minutes of racing so far, but no, we are closer to 10 or 15 minutes left.
Neil Pimlott still in P15. He did great in the first part of the race, then just got involved in some incidents, if I'm not mistaken. Spun. No, that was actually Thibaut Roscam is currently in P4, but just got involved in some incidents. Matt Malcolm keeping his nose clean. Tom Shipston in P8. Tom Shipston, of course, overtook Matt Malcolm. So Matt Malcolm was in P3, now currently in P4.
Oh, I think as I've just seen Les Stevenson, I was about to say it appears he actually got the penalty for that incident. He got a 10-second. Just as I was getting ready to say that, he is now no longer in the race. Maybe a mixture of frustration and sort of disappointment from stuff like that happening. And sometimes, guys are just like, well, if I'm already this far back and got another kick in the nuts, it's maybe time to throw in the towel.
It's a very, very tough decision, because you never want to throw in the towel, of course, but sometimes it's the better decision, and sometimes better decisions are the harder decisions to make. Matt Malcolm wishing what car is that? The number 20 car of Fatiuto. I just tried it and failed miserably once more. But Matt Malcolm getting really frustrated because the car ahead, it's not a back marker, he just hasn't fitted yet, and he isn't, at least Marco doesn't seem eager to give up the position. Matt Malcolm wishes he would, but he's not obliged, the number 20 car, to give up the position in any way. So this will make life for the Scotsman really sour if he can't overtake the number 9 car, the P9 car, very soon.
I think Marco right now, I think he's doing this for Italy. I think it's all gas, no brakes to the line.
Oh
well, as I say that, he ducks out into the pit lane. That would make sense if you're on your in lap. No, there's no reason to give up any ground. There's no reason to give any concession. In laps are all about maximum pace until your pit stop.
Maximum pace indeed, and you know what? You might get that maximum pace if someone would have a wheel or pedals from our beautiful partners at Moza Racing. Quality direct drive hardware that doesn't break the bank. We all know and love Moza Racing as one of our loyal partners here at RCI, and of course, if we are going to talk about partners, we can't forget Green Man Gaming. Score huge savings on your PC games, including new releases. Go and check Green Man Gaming out. Of course, if you want to get faster on track as well, Coach Dave Delta has everything you need, from coaching sessions to a fantastic Delta app and setups to provide you in ACC iRacing and the newly game Le Mans Ultimate. Go check them out. They have an amazing Delta app, which I use as well. Of course, can't forget Ready, Set, Sim Racing. Build the sim brick of your dreams. It's all possible at the lovely people of our RSS. And of course, we can't forget Pimax, who deliver class-leading clarity and resolution with its currently range of VR headsets. Very immersive, especially in Assetto Corsa Competizione. I definitely want to take a look at that. And we also can't forget the beautiful people at Motorsport UK, who recommend us as an official esports community. So go check them out because they have a lot of different leagues you can race in ACC, iRacing, whatnot. Amazing platform, Motorsport UK. Back to the racing then. Dutchman Kevin Bos behind Andy Boardman, just getting lapped by Andy Boardman. Kevin Bos did great at the start of the race, had a pretty good qualifying, but then just fell a little bit back, Jack.
Yeah, it seems like that's actually been happening to a couple guys out here. I mean, I assume nobody's throwing tires on these cars, and granted, I have no idea how long the rubber lasts on these M2s, but I think it's a mixture of, concentration. Maybe people are starting to get towards the end, they're starting to lose a bit of concentration, and they're starting to lose a bit of tire grip. They're just slowing down just a little bit, and unfortunately for that group, the other group seems to just be getting faster.
It does seem, and it's only natural. There are certain skill levels a driver has with tire saving. Some are better at it than others. Nico Kumpu definitely faring well in the tire saving, as the track temperature is 36 degrees. Last time the drivers already complained when it was 18 degrees, because their left tires were shredded to pieces, and this time it's 36 degrees. This BMW M2 likes to churn up its tires all the race long. And these drivers definitely feeling the tire degradation. Nico Kumpu handling it pretty well, 11 seconds off the leader, but 15 seconds off the man in P3 all the way from last position, because he qualified in P20, George Darby in the 777. It's still amazing. Last time he had a P3, couldn't really compete with P2 and P1, and so he thought, if I finish P3 anyway, might as well make it worth my while and just start from the back.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for whether it was planned from the beginning or maybe he tried to put in a couple laps, didn't feel like he had the qualifying pace. I mean, it is very difficult to get into an early race incident when you start from the back. You are in complete control of what's happening ahead of you in terms of, hey, I see it, I'm going to now avoid it, versus being in the middle, being in the pack, and it just happening to you, or you not having enough time to sort of react or compose yourself. And I mean, clearly Joe Dauber had the pace and to climb all the way back up to where he finished last time around. I mean, impressive drive if all goes well in this next 12 and a half minutes.
Who knows? Hugo Doobie anyway currently in P8, still needing to make a pit stop, and so that means that he will probably fall down the order with 12 minutes left. Yes, Hugo Doobie ends up. If you haven't done so already, go and make sure you are following us on our social media channel. Our Instagram page is as active as ever, is more popular than ever. If you don't want to miss any highlights, especially go over to our Instagram reel page, because a lot of highlights are being shared on that specific reel page, and also some fantastic livery battles. Last Monday championship we had a livery battle. We may be getting one this season, maybe not so sure, but keep an eye out for our social media pages, because they are blooming with live, thanks to our fantastic social media team behind the screens, who have resurrected the RCI social media pages. So be sure to follow us on Instagram and more. As we go back to the racing, 11 minutes left, and Andy Boardman still needs to make a stop. Nico Kumpu still needs to make a stop. Basically the whole top 6, virtual top 6, need to make a stop. But Tom Shipston having great pace currently, Jack. Might he even have pace for a late attack on P2?
honestly didn't really realize that the top six all needed to stop. But he's in a fantastic position. I'm not sure what the pit lane delta is, as the current P5 runner, Mr. Floxel, is deciding now's the time. We got to pit. We got to pit now. I mean, 10 minutes left in the race. Ultimately, you gotta do it soon. I mean, I could say possibly a mount on P2 for sure. A fight for the podium when all's said and done. I'm wondering which of these drivers, whether Joe Daub or whether Kumpu is sort of looked at far enough behind to be like, you know what, a couple of these guys are in really good position to maybe jump us after we stop.
It is a big ask, of course. Like Vauxhall, it is also a very long pit lane. I mean, the pit lane doesn't, the pit, you still need to be on the limiter all the way towards, what is it? Turn 4, which is incredible. It is a really long pit stop, and I wonder, we might actually underestimate how long a pit stop is. I think it's well over 40 seconds here. So, yeah, it's just going to be very, very interesting. 9 minutes left either way. As we still see Mike Vauxhall driving, almost losing. The car seat at rear end is difficult for everyone to master. We saw Thibaut Roscoe, who was currently then driving in a net P5. We have people at the back, we have people at the front. As we see a little track cam here, we'll be back in the race as soon as possible. Those things always happen with seeming. I always say what can go wrong will go wrong in broadcasting. And my headphone as well, because they're still not working, Jack.
Well, listen, if it does, when it goes wrong, which it always does, it always happens when it shouldn't. As in, we got 10 minutes left in the race. I think there's about to be some position swaps. Things are about to happen, and lo and behold, something breaks. But you know what? We roll with the punches. We do the best with what we can. As Ash Baby doing a phenomenal job getting it back up and running in, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds. That was great. We didn't miss a single thing. At least it doesn't seem like. Nope, nobody's boxed. I think we're all still out. We're all still green flag racing.
Andy Boardman not feeling a hint of pressure at all. The 69 nice BMW M2 car. Is he going to come in now? He is not. No, he's not. Probably at the end of the race then, as we have 7 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Track temperature is 36, so it's still the same as like half an hour ago. So that's good for the drivers that it's not getting any higher. Really interesting when Nico Kumpu will pit. Nico Kumpu currently coming through the main straight, coming through the finish line. P2, net P3, Tom Shipston on the back end of the track. So of course he's stationary for quite a while, Nico Kumpu, but it's going to be very close. I can't really place how long a pit stop is. I can maybe secretly count when Nico Kumpu hits start finish again, but it's going. I hear that pit stops are around 55 to 60 seconds, which was in my mind a little bit, but there's only one way to find out, and we'll definitely find out within 5 minutes time.
If it is a minute-long pit stop, I mean, I can't say for sure the deltas aren't exactly all showing up in the exact right way that I need to, but Tom Shipston, I see 25, 12, 15. I can't do the math quick enough, but I'm not 100% sure if it's going to get him all the way up to P2, but I'm pretty sure it's going to definitely stick him in P3. And that's
1 minute is like more than half a lap.
Yeah,
it's almost 3/4 of a lap. So it's a long time.
I'm looking at the track map now, seeing where Nico Kumpu is and where Tom Shipston is, and that is right about half a lap distance in terms of where one person is on track. I think that might be a little less than half a lap, considering there's Oh, Tom Shipson already had finished up the lower speed portion of the circuit. But man, I'm really looking forward to when these guys are gonna box. Seems like they might be crossing the line in from the box, which actually may save them quite a bit of time and actually might save a couple of their races now that I'm thinking about it. Unless, of course, the pit lane closes before the final lap, which it does seem like it does to avoid that exact thing happening.
Yes. So pit stops will probably be made somewhere, around the next lap. And Tom Shipson, he came with it's Nico Kumpu. He came with 5 minutes and 33 seconds over the line. Currently, Tom Shipson, it's 4 minutes and 55, which means he still has like 15 seconds. I think he could make it. He could well make it. If it's a pit stop of 55 seconds, right now, he definitely has Nico Kumpu beat. So he definitely has Joe Darby beat. But has he beat Nico Kumpu? It's going to be really tight. I'd love to find it out in an instant, but we still have to wait a little bit more, as Joey Darbo for Rebound Racing is currently driving in a virtual P3, because he might get demoted to P4, which means, of course, Tom Shipson has done an amazing job. His race pace is staggering, like we said before. Mike Redford has a 5-second penalty. He still needs to cash in. Well, of course, you don't really want to cash in a penalty. The last penalty we had was for the 46 car, who has already retired, I think. Yes, Nico Kumpu in pit lane. So we will find out if Nico Kumpu loses that second spot or not, Jack.
My eyes are currently absolutely glued to the track map. I'm just seeing where that number 60 is in relation to pit lane. I mean, it's going to be close no matter what way you slice it. And I mean, it may not be the most exciting way to end a race with, two cars racing for track position rather than racing each other on track. But I mean, I still think this is pretty exciting stuff. Tom Shipson now, he knows for a fact that the 3 cars ahead of him that have boxed, he's like, I have to put in the next 2 to 3 best laps I possibly can. I cannot make any
he's
mistakes.
done it. Nico Kumpu has done it, and my predictions, they were wrong. I mean, Nico Kumpu, oh my god, he still needs to get out of, oh no, that's actually Joe Darby. But can Tom Shipson overtake Joe Darby? It's going to be really close. The number 60 car coming through turn 3 now. He has more speed than Joey Darby, and there is Joey Darby. It's going to be really close for the third spot in this race, but when the braking zone is there, the delta will be set, and Tom Shipson has almost catched P3 Joe Darby. Can he still catch Joe Darby? He probably has the pace advantage. The gap is 1.3 seconds. This race is still 2 laps left after this one. Now, it's 1 lap left after this lap, but after that, what am I trying to say? Next lap is the last lap. Thank you, Brain, for cooperating. Jack.
We're almost there, buddy. 2 more laps, and then our brains will be free, and we can let the air out. But yeah, that was a lot closer than I was expecting with P3. I definitely thought that Shipson would sort of have Dauber by a couple of seconds, maybe 5 to 10, but perhaps our quick math was utterly inadequate. But I mean, Shipson's already closed a couple of tenths, but I mean, to pull a second in 1 lap is incredible, as now Andy Boardman has begun the final lap. He actually began it about 2 corners ago, but that's okay. And I think where we are is pretty much where we're going to stand. Mike Redford, even after the 5-second penalty, I think will retain P9. So unless anything insane, psychotic, or insanely psychotic happens in this next lap, I think this may be our finishing order.
We still have the Italian of the number 20 trailing the Dutchman in P10. 1.3 seconds is the gap. Kevin Bos could make a mistake, but he, it isn't certain that Kevin Bos will make a mistake. They still have 1.5 lap remaining. The gap has closed up though, so we might see a late change for the last spot in the top 10, and it could go either way to Marco in P20 or to Kevin Bos in the number 20 car, or Kevin Bos in the number 31 car. Mike Redford in P9 has a 5-second penalty. He will definitely not, unless Hugo Duby makes a mistake, spins around and whatnot, get P8 as Kevin Bos comes over the line, and he will probably need to look in his rear view mirrors, maybe needing to even take some defensive lines to keep that P10 in his own, for his own, as Andy Portman now already comes across the line. He won time. He will win dominantly this time. The gap will be roughly 15 seconds to Nico Kumpu, who finishes in P2, but it is Andy Portman with the fastest lap of the race and wins again. Wins for the second time in this Sylvia series. Joe Darber, he will claim P3. He has fended off Tom Shipston, who had staggering pace in the later stages of this race, but it's going to be the 777 BMW M2 who takes the final spot on the podium. His name is Joe Darber, and Tom Shipston just behind that. Matt Malcolm, probably a disappointing end to his race, finishing in P5. Just behind that, it is Thibaut Roskam in P6.
A really surprisingly tight finish in a couple areas. My eyes are still firmly glued on the 31 and the 20 car, as now we see Peter Varga getting ready to round the final corner, finishing in P7. A pretty solid result for a lot of drivers. I imagine Peter would be pretty pleased with that. There's a little bit of argy-bargy during the race, but managing to get it done where it counts between the lines. As Hugo Duby very closely trailed behind by Mike Redford, they both crossed the line to round out P8 and P9, and it looks like Kevin Bos has done what he needed to do on these last couple of laps, but it's still very close with Kevin Bos and the home hero crossing the line.
One of the last drivers to cross the line is Neil Pimlott, probably. We just saw debutant Vauxhall, and well, the last over the line is in fact Neil Pimlott, and that means the second round in the Sylvia series has been driven. That means we don't have a different winner, we have the same winner. His name again is Andy Portman, who rightfully won with a gap of 15 seconds, and behind that the gap is 17 seconds, and after that it's just 1.2 seconds to Tom Shipston from Joe Darber. Matt Malcolm finishes in P5. He claims the final spot in the top 5. Then it's Thibaut Roskam, Peter Varga, Hugo Duby in P8. Good result for the Frenchman. Mike Redford finds himself in P9. He will probably be disappointed given he finished P5 last time around. It's going to be Kevin Bos in P10, who held off the number 20 BMW M2 in P11. Just behind that, it's Vauxhall, Pimlott, Meerman, Wojtek, Les Stevenson, Keith Wiffel, Martin Black, Edwards, and Stevenson in P21. Well, that is the second race of the season. Your very first race of the season, Jack. How did you like it?
That was great. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. I'm pleased to be here, and I am pleased to be here. Was pleased to be here, and I'm especially pleased to hopefully round out the season with you guys. Shouldn't. I'm not planning on going anywhere, but who knows? Sometimes I get sent random places. But I'm excited for more racing. That was a truly exciting race. I imagine much better than last week, but sometimes that happens, and hopefully we can continue this trend of starting a little sterile and getting to the final round, maybe just being this ridiculous mash of fantastic racing.
Indeed, it was a fantastic race. It was great spectacle. lots of crashes, but just lots of spectacle, a lot to keep us entertained. I think the social media team will get busy because a lot has happened in this race, and a lot needs to be noted down, not only by the stewards but also by the social media team. One more thing about the Sylvia series. We could also name this the TCX series, but we don't. We name it the Sylvia series. We name it to a dear friend of RCI's who has been struggling both physically and mentally while spending most of their life going in and out of hospital. And we know there are more of you out there, and that's why these coming Mondays and this past Monday we race for exactly you. And that's why we have named it the Sylvia series. We still have a few rounds to go. Well, I say a few, quite a few. We still have 4 rounds to go. Zolder will be the next one on September the 1st. So that is next week on Monday. We will return to Zolder. And Zolder is quite an interesting track. It's a tight track, but it's a technical track, Jack. What do you think we're going to see of Zolder? Much of the same as here?
I think so. I think though that unlike Misano, we're gonna see a lot of big sends on the brakes, and Zolder that tends to sort of bring out the best and worst of dive bombs. People see those chicanes and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna brake 50 meters later than you, and we're gonna see what happens. We have some absolute world-class drivers at RCI, but sometimes even the best can't help themselves.
I can only agree with that. And on those words, we are going to close off this beautiful second round, this beautiful second race. And again, I thank you all for watching. Make sure to tune in next time, because next time we head to Belgium at, of course, the fantastic circuit of Zolder. We'll see you then at the 1st of September for the 3rd round of the Sylvia series. Until then, have a nice evening.
You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Get behind the wheel, let's go. Grip the road, feel the flow. Thunder roaring, steel alive. Live this dream and drive. Tires burning with gasoline. Push the limits, chasing green. One shot, don't slow, go on, we'll take control. Engines scream alive tonight. Blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. The miles they fade, but they don't die. Faster now, the hours fly by. Sweat and gears, hearts in sync. On the edge, on the brink. Clock ticks down, stakes are high. One mistake, we kiss us goodbye. Don't slow down, we're not done. Finish line for the strong ones. Engines scream alive tonight. Blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. Feel the rush, see the goal. Every second, take control. The world blurs, time won't wait. We rise, we fight, we accelerate. 3, 2, 1, go. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. always chasing taillights. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Get behind the wheel, let's go. Grip the road, feel the flow. Thunder roaring, steel alive. Live this dream and drive. Tires burning with gasoline. Push the limits, chasing green. One shot, don't slow. Go on, we'll take control. Engines scream alive tonight. Blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. The miles they fade, but they don't die. Faster now, the hours fly by. Sweat and gears, hearts in sync. On the edge, on the brink. Clock ticks down, stakes are high. One mistake, we kiss us goodbye. Don't slow down, we're not done. Finish line for the strong ones. Engines scream alive tonight. Blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. Feel the rush, see the goal. Every second, take control. The world blurs, time won't wait. We rise, we fight, we accelerate. 3, 2, 1, go. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. We're always chasing taillights. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Get behind the wheel, let's go. Grip the road, feel the flow. Thunder roaring, steel alive. Live this dream and drive. Tires burning with gasoline. Push the limits, chasing green. One shot, don't slow. Go on, we'll take control. Engines scream alive tonight. Blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. The miles they fade, but they don't die. Faster now, the hours fly by. Sweat and Gears, hearts in sync, on the edge, on the brink. Clock ticks down, stakes are high. One mistake, we kiss us goodbye. Don't slow down, we're not done. Finish line for the strong ones. Engines scream alive tonight, blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. Feel the rush, see the goal. Every second, take control. The world blurs, time won't wait. We rise, we fight.